Assalamualaikum students. How are you all? I hope you all are fine and safe at your home place or residence where you live. Inshallah, Ameen. As you all know that this is your recorded video of your subject History Geography of class 7, and I am your teacher Ms. Sobia Naz from the Smart School Sir Syed Ahmad Khan campuses in Johor campus. Today we will discuss your chapter Minerals and Natural Resources of the Muslim World of your Geography section. Before starting an explanation of your chapter, I want to tell you one thing or want to remind you one thing that I have already reminded in all your previous video also, that why we are having these recorded videos for your sake, because we are not able to contact with each other or to interact with each other within a school premises. So you have some kind of difficulties regarding your topics or your chapters or the headings that are included in your chapters. For this regard, we are making these videos. So it's your duty, students, to watch all your videos so that you can easily be cleared with the chapters and the topics that are included in your chapters. Students, do watch your recorded videos that we are uploading for you all, and we have already uploaded so many of the videos for you. Let's start explanation. Listen to the explanation of this video carefully. First, I will tell you a little bit about minerals and natural resources of the Muslim world, starting off like in the early period of Earth, where there was just one huge landmass. There was a huge inland sea in the area where the Middle East is now located. The whole climate and vegetation was very different around, and in this inland sea were vast masses of plants. These died and got buried deep underground and turned into the present oil and gas deposits. Your heading is of oil. We will discuss a little bit about it. No one is quite certain of the extent of these fields, and though the subcontinent, especially Pakistan, seems to belong the same geological structures, only relatively small amount of oil have been discovered. They are compared with Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and Gulf states. However, hope spring eternal, and there is a constant quest for this oil, which could solve many of Pakistan's economic problems. As it has to import the great bulk of its oil needs. Then, in 1950s, the supply of oil was far in excess of demand. Perhaps a diversion into the supply and demand concept of trading is valid here. When not many people want a particular commodity, the manufacturers or producers have to lower prices to get trade. When there is a great demand, price go up as people outbid one another to get the commodity. The price of crude oil in the 1950s was less than US $10. A barrel oil price is always quoted in dollars. The price of oil has fluctuated from below $10 to nearly $150. And this instability is the cause of many world problems. Now your next heading is of natural gas. We will discuss about natural gas. Natural gas is normally found in conjunction with or adjacent to oil because it is made from the same original materials. Decayed vegetations in the processing butane and propane as well as petrol are removed as liquid. We all are familiar with the gas bottles and cylinders of domestic and industrial use. The remaining dry gas is distributed to homes and factories as a gas for use as fuel. Plastic, drugs, and dyes are also byproducts of gas refineries. Gas has a longer history than oil. There are records from 600 BC in China of gas being fed from shallow well or surface outlets along pipe made of bamboo to heat cauldrons for boiling down seawater for salt. Now let's start your next heading, that is of coal. Coal is a declining fuel, and though there are reasonable deposits in Pakistan, it is generally low grade with less than one third of carbon and two-thirds incombustible material. Unless mixed with expensive imported high-grade coal, it is relatively of not much use except for such basic industries as brick making, where fuel quality is not so important. The chart on page 21 shows the mineral resources. You can go through the page. Of Muslim countries, Indonesia seems particularly well blessed with the both agriculture and mineral products. Its sheer physical size, its immense ethnic and linguistic diversity, problems of communication, and difficulties of exploiting the vast minerals wealth outside Java means that Indonesia GDP at US dollar 3,900 is in spite of its vast resources of about a quarter that of Malaysia, US dollar 15,900, and nearly twice that of Pakistan. Now come to your next heading, that is minerals and other products of the Muslim world. Let's start discussion. That is copper. The name comes from Cyprus, which was the source of the first supplies for Europe. One of the earliest metal discovered by man, it was too soft for serious tools or weapons. However, the Egyptian pyramids were created using copper chisel and other tools. It was discovered later that melting it with tin made a much harder metal. Bronze, the world's first deliberate alloy. The high conductivity of copper makes it especially important in electrical industries, motors, dynamos, cables, as well as radios and television sets. Much piping for water and gas is made of copper. It is, however, very poisonous, so that while it is ideal for cooking utensils, these are tinned, i.e., given a layer of tin inside so that the food does not touch the copper itself. Its poisonous qualities also made it very useful when ships were made of wood and marine animals bored into the timber and seaweeds grew there, slowing down the ships every soon. Often the ships had been taken to beach, pulled up beyond the tide, and carried the weed had to be burned off. Important ships had sheets of copper below the waterline to prevent this. Now let's come to your next heading, that is of the lead. One of the earliest metals, but not very useful in antiquity, as it is far too soft. It was sometimes used in water pipes, as it could be hammered into long flat sheets, and then these were bent round a pole and seemed to make them watertight. Of more importance in the past was that gold and silver were often found amalgamated with lead and had to be extracted. Today, lead is widely used as a base for paints and for covering electric cables. It is a vital ingredient for car batteries. Now, lead is used for making motor car batteries, also, as we discussed it. It is also used in X-ray equipment as it is sorry, as it protects doctors and nurses working the machines from the rays, which are very dangerous in large amounts. Lead is also used in building for making bullets. The Muslims world produces about 6% of the world supply of lead. Now, your next heading is of zinc. Zinc is a late discovery. Today, it is used for batteries. The ordinary cell batteries and torches usually have a zinc case. Perhaps a discarded cell can be dismantled to show the zinc casing. Zinc is used mainly for weatherproofing as it does not rust. Zinc ointment, a white antiseptic ointment, is one of the commonest items in domestic medicines boxes. Zinc is also used in production of car tires and television tubes. It is a metal which is used to plate very thinly sheets of corrugated iron or steel, which are often used as cheap from the form of roofing. Kazakhstan ranks ninth in the world for zinc production. Now next come to your next heading, that is nickel. Apart from the waterproofing skin on steel in bicycles, etc., nickel is an essential ingredient in making some kinds of steel where a very hard metal is needed, for example, in car engines and in armor plating for tanks. This valuable metal is often used like zinc to coat steel objects, stop them from rusting. It is the shiny metal you see on bicycle, as I have discussed, handlebars or the bumpers of the car. Nickel is also used to make some silver coins. Indonesia is the fourth largest producer of nickel in the world. Now, your next heading is gold. Gold is one of the earliest metal discovered, but it is so soft that it is of not much use for most practical purposes. Its value through the ages has been as a precious metal which can be made into complex shapes as it is so malleable. It is not affected by most chemical or other conditions and never tarnishes. Gold artifacts excavated in ancient tombs, such as the of Tutankhamun, look exactly as they were when they were made. Apart from its value as a precious metal, gold is now used extensively in computers and satellites, and of course for dental purposes and gilding. Gold is used in space equipment too, partly because it does not tarnish, but also with silver. It is one of the best conductors of electricity known. Today, gold is used in scientific equipment also, as we have discussed. Indonesia 7th and Uzbekistan 9th rank among the top 10 producers of the world's gold. Your next heading is silver. Silver has been traced back to Asia Minor 4000 BCE. It was also largely a decorative metal in the past because of its softness. Today, its diverse properties make it an important ingredient in many chemical processes, especially photography. It is also used in solar panels as a reflector 97% and as an electrical conductor. However, silver tarnishes on exposure to air and has to be cleaned. Silver is also used for expensive decorative domestic objects like vases, dishes, plates, mugs, and trays. It may be of interest to know that silver has healing and cell regeneration properties too, and is used universally for purification of drinking water and swimming pools. Both silver and gold are mined as ores. For example, mixed with other substances, gold especially is found in very deep mines, sometimes a kilometer or more deep. Some gold is found in grains in running streams where it has washed out from the rock. Now, I hope you all are cleared with the chapter, that is minerals and natural resources of the Muslim world. Till your next recorded video class, I hope you all will be fine. Inshallah, we will come up with the next video. Before ending the video, I want to tell you one thing: do watch your recorded videos, it will be helpful for you. Till your next recorded class, thank you. Allah Hafiz.